Hey boys and girls, I want to show you how to do a little bit of abstract art using just a couple things that hopefully you have at home. One important part of this is having some aluminum foil. So I have a piece of that. I'm going to need some paper. I'm going to need some washable markers to make sure they're washable, not permanent. And I'm going to need something to get my materials wet with. So usually the easiest thing is to have something like a water bottle or a spray bottle that you can use, but you could also use wet paper towels for this. So to begin with, we want to take those washable markers and we want to be able to draw right on top of the aluminum foil. So I kind of cut out a piece that would be about the same size as the piece of paper that I'm going to be using. I'm then going to decide on what kind of design I want to put on it. Now remember, we're focusing on abstract art. So you're going to want to focus on things like lines or shapes or even just random splotches of color. For this one, I think I will do mostly some stripes. So I'm going to take my first color. I'm trying my best to make a stripe. I want to do as much as I can to not get too many fingerprints on my foil. Because if you get a lot of fingerprints, the oils in your hands will actually prevent the marker from sticking to that foil super well. Next, I've got my blue stripe. I'm trying to do this kind of quickly. A lot of the times if you have a broad marker, that means it's kind of a fat tip, you want to actually kind of use the edge of the marker. So not the very tip of it, but kind of lean it sideways, and that helps you to get a much thicker line, which is going to help us a lot for this part. I think this time I'll add some red. I'm kind of doing a rainbow. It just didn't start with red like we normally do. It started with a different color, and we're kind of working our way around the color wheel. Now my colors aren't exactly touching each other, that's okay, but I am not leaving a lot of the foil showing. I just want to cover as much as I can without my markers touching too much. Now I have most of my foil covered, and so if I hold it up here, you should be able to see that I've got most of the colors filling up my foil. The next step is we have to be able to get these washable markers wet so that we can print it onto our piece of paper. So that's where this will come in handy. I'm going to be taking my spray bottle and I want to just very lightly spray my foil. You might notice some of the colors start blending on your piece of foil. That's okay. Sometimes that makes the colors even more interesting. Then I'll take a clean sheet of paper and I'm going to lay it right on top of the foil. So notice I'm not moving the foil at all. I'm putting my paper down right on top of it. And I like to kind of rub on my paper. That way it gives the colors a chance to absorb into the paper. And that means that my paper will be more colorful when I pull the paper off of the foil. I can even see some of the color starting to show through, so that really does mean that it's soaking in. Okay, are you guys ready for the fun part? When I lift it off, the color should now be on my paper instead of the foil. Here we go. Awesome, and now it kind of looks like tie-dye. Now, let's say you do not have a water bottle like mine. Maybe you could use a wet paper towel instead. So I've already prepared a piece of foil that has some color on it. I went with the cool colors on this one. What I would do instead of adding the water onto the foil would actually be to take a wet paper towel. It's not really dripping or anything, it's just kind of damp. I'm sure you could use wet wipes for this too, but mine is just a wet paper towel. And I'm actually going to get my piece of paper wet this time. And so I'm wiping water all over my white piece of paper, getting it nice and wet. I'll lift it up and I'll put the wet side facing down on top of my marker. And again, I'm really going to want to rub the back of my paper so that it gives a little bit of a chance for that marker to soak in. All right, let's see how it works this time. You ready? I lift it up, and now I have beautiful, cool colors on this sheet of paper. All right, I hope you have fun trying to make some beautiful colors and abstract art using just foil, water, and washable markers.